Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Petroc Science and Maths live stream open event. My name is Mark, and I'm the lecturer in applied science and a little bit of chemistry. And I'll just introduce our lecturers for you. We've got the other way, got Liz, who's environmental science. Kathy is biology. Over to the right is Debbie, chemistry, and the far right, Dave, physics. So we're here to answer any questions that you've got about these subjects or anything else in the science and maths department. What is the difference between an A-level and a BTEC certificate? Well, shall I answer that? Not a great deal at this stage. They're both level 3 qualifications. They cover very similar stuff. You would do separate subjects, 3 separate subjects at A-level, whereas BTEC, it's one subject, applied science, but it encompasses the 3 biology, chemistry, and physics. So you would have the same teachers for all aspects of BTEC. But other than that, there's not a great deal of difference. Students go on to do the same things, pretty much the same. So there's not much difference between the content. In fact, certainly, well, that's as far as chemistry goes, and I think that's probably the same for biology and physics. Kathy and Dave, is that right? Yeah. So not as much difference as there used to be, in fact, and students go on to do the same things. It's just a different way that it's examined. BTEC has quite a large element of coursework, assignments. A-level, of course, is all terminal exams. There are some exams in BTEC, but they're a much smaller part of the course. A big part of the course is assignment based. So that's the real difference, and that suits some students more than others. Morning, Gemma. This is Gemma from Maths below.
Morning.
Morning. We're just taking questions now. So, what are the entry requirements to study A-levels? Well, these are all quite general questions, aren't they? Well, we tend to have level 6 for the particular subject in the sciences. I think that might be different for maths there, Gemma. Perhaps you could help us with that. Maths, is it 6 or above?
Well, it's a 7, really. I mean, we could take a 6, but generally it's a 7.
And what about Liz? What do you? Environmental sciences, is it 6 as well?
No, it's a 5 in sciences and a 5 in maths.
All right. So minor differences. We tend to, in the sciences, we tend to prefer 6s for math, for biology, physics, and chemistry. Applied science, I'll just add that it's usually a 5. We accept 5, occasionally 4, depending on individuals, but usually 5s for applied science.
It's also worth noting that you need a 4 in English to do any A-levels at all as well.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. Well, shall I pass over to I'll pass over to Kathy. No, where are you, Kathy? You biology.
Sorry, what's the question, Mark? Because I can't.
Okay, what is your A-level pass rate? I didn't realise you couldn't see it. What's your A-level pass rate?
The A-level pass rate is we've had about for the last 3 years. 3-year trend's been about 98. 98 sort of 1 year was 100. So in that sort of range for the actual sort of pass rate. Within that, for high grades, we normally get, which is A star to B is the definition of high grades. We normally get just over 50% in high grades, and then when it drops down to C, we're sort of looking at around 80% of our students.
Okay. And Debbie, is Debbie still there? Oh, no, another question. Does timetabling allow for mixing science and humanities, e.g. biology, geography, and sociology? Well, I think it generally does, doesn't it? It does allow mixing subjects within reason. They're blocked. The subjects are blocked. I mean, if you know better, anyone, let me know. But as far as I know, they're blocked, and there is a fair amount of flexibility. Occasionally there are problems, but we do try and accommodate as many variations as possible. But yeah, I think biology, geography, and sociology would be definitely possible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd say that one absolutely fine. Again, it's a very rare problem that there are timetable clashes and they can't be timetabled. So I'd say probably maybe 2 or 3 students in the entire year that happens with. So it's unusual.
Few and far between.
It's normally if students are doing something that isn't taught within the A-level section per se, isn't it? It's normally if they're doing something like music or something like that you tend to get. It's more likely to be a problem. I think if they're taught within our sort of section, then generally there isn't an issue.
Yeah, it's with small subjects that are only in one block where there's no flexibility, isn't it? I think. Yeah. But those big subjects, biology, geography, sociology, wouldn't be a problem at all. Can you give a brief description of what to expect from the different maths and science A-levels? Gemma, I don't know if you want to say anything about the maths.
Yeah, well, the maths A-level is really an extension of your GCSE. The first term, lots of familiar things, and then we go on to some new topics, and we study mostly pure maths, and then we do a tiny bit of applied maths, which is the statistics and mechanics. You'll find if you do sciences that the maths will really help you in your science topics.
Yeah. Well, Debbie, do you want to say anything about chemistry?
Yeah, so just to echo what Gemma said, really, we start off by building on your GCSE knowledge, so things like atomic structure, and we just take it a little bit further. In your second year, again, we build on your year 1, and you'll also start to learn more about molecules such as benzene, which you might have heard of, and transition metals, which you might not have studied a lot before. But definitely in kind of maybe the first term, it won't be anything unfamiliar, just like in a little bit more detail.
Dave, physics? Want to say something?
Hello, is that fine? Can you hear me? Yeah, perfect. Okay, so the first year, similar to everyone, really, it's all similar stuff to last year, working GCSE level, looking at mechanics, forces in motion, circuits, that sort of thing there. Year 2 is more based on new concepts, so like circular motion, astronomy, a lot of field work in like G fields and that. And finally, look at things in so like medical applications of physics in the last bit of term. Okay, so first year very similar to GCSE level. Second year very much new concepts, new ideas, and practical elements of that as well involved in that too. Okay, so yeah.
All right, Liz, so environmental science. You probably want to say something that's a bit different to the other sciences, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess this is the only subject that's not taught at GCSE. So I'd say it's most similar to physical geography combined with kind of biology, ecology in terms of the sciences. So it very much picks on general science knowledge and uses that to apply it to the living environment on the Earth and the physical processes on the Earth. So the first year is very much learning how the Earth's processes work. So based on living organisms, so looking at how their processes and how ecosystems function, and then kind of moving on to conservation. And then it then moves into how the atmosphere works, the water cycle, mineral resources, nutrient cycling, and soil. So the first year is really looking at the basic processes, and then the second year moves on to real like global environmental issues. So the atmosphere, sorry, not the atmosphere, forestry, fisheries, and agriculture, and then looking at energy and pollution. So it's very, very applied to the real world. I think everything that we do, you can see it happening around you, and you can really get to grips with the content in that sense.
Do you have much practical work or field work in environmental
yes,
science?
a little bit of both. There's a little bit of lab work, and we have to do some outside field work as well. So some of it is going we go to Croyd and Kane in Braunton. We also go to some woods in Braunton as well. And then we do little bits around college in the field, and then we go down to the new bridge and do noise assessments and things like that. So it is quite broad and encompassing in that sense.
Okay, I don't know, Kathy, I don't know if you want to say anything about biology as well.
Yeah, it's a similar story to chemistry and physics and maths, really. It builds a lot on GCSE. The topics won't really be that different from what you studied at GCSE. It's just the depth that you do them in. I mean, we start with the kind of the foundation, so the cellular and the biochemistry, and then we move into applications of that. So the physiological applications in things like the gas exchange system and circulatory system and nerves and muscles, and then sort of the ecological application. So we link in with environmental science in quite a lot of the ecology outside of it, looking at nutrient cycles and that sort of thing. And then there's a little bit on sort of applications within industry in sort of biotechnology. I mean, on all the sort of work that has been done, sort of been talked about so much recently with like coronavirus and PCR testing, all of that kind of thing. We cover the science behind that. So quite a lot of sort of applicable to real world situations.
Okay, great. Next question. What do your students go on to study after college? Well, it's a big variety, really, isn't it? Whatever they want to do in science is pretty much open to them. I'll go around people and see what they say. Liz, I don't know what anything to say about environmental science for that one?
Yeah, again, it is very broad, and it very much depends on what the students have done as their A levels, but any kind of science really. Obviously, I have students who go on to do environmental science, but I think it also covers specialisms like conservation and ecology, zoology, marine science, oceanography, geology, geography, straight biology. Some people have gone into kind of engineering kind of sectors, depending on what other subjects. I've had veterinary science, I've had medicine, yeah, all sorts. It's very broad, very, very broad. And yeah. I think the students kind of really get a feel of what they're interested in because of all the different topics environmental science covers. And when they do it with other sciences, I think it really opens up a huge number of courses to them.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything to say in particular, specific things? I mean, Liz has covered pretty much most of the ground there, hasn't she? Obviously, the specific subjects, biology, chemistry and physics, pure subjects and all the applied versions of those. I don't know, Gemma, maths, have you got there? Obviously, they go on to do maths, but...
No, I mean, it's the same, really. It's such a broad spectrum of what they would go on to do. What I would say, though, is that even though some uni courses don't require maths A-level, if you do it alongside your science subjects, it just enhances your science and it enables you to get those A's and A stars. So, yeah, have a look at uni requirements for certain courses and then you'll get an idea of what subjects you need to do at college.
Yeah, I'd certainly echo that. I think if you wanted to do chemistry or physics or closely related subjects at degree level, maths A level would definitely be a useful bonus, I think. Just a little bit about applied science. As I said earlier, it's very similar to A levels in terms of content nowadays, and students are tending to go on to do the same kinds of things. I mean, we have got students that are going on to do chemistry, pure chemistry. I'm not sure if we've got any that are going on to do physics as yet. And we did get one student going on to do a foundation medical degree. So, you know, BTEC is really, the doors have been opened, the floodgates, if you like, have been opened to what students can do with BTEC as well, because it is so similar to A level in overall content. So, yeah, A levels and BTEC, the whole world of science is really open to them if they're interested.
Sorry, just wanted to add about students who want to go on to do science degrees. And my experience is that you need 2 sciences, and their third A level can be incredibly broad in terms of choices. And yeah, for sure, there are definitely students who do all the sciences, but I've had, like, in terms of medicine students, kind of you need the biology and chemistry, but the third subject is really, really open. And I personally have had students doing environmental science or geography with that combination and going on to do things like medicine. So I think if students are interested in something that's a bit broader and they have that wide interest, I think they quite like it, as well as something different and showing a different skill, like a language, for example. I think they look on that quite positively. If they've got the two sciences, then the third option can be quite broad. I don't know whether that's everyone else's experience.
I would agree. I think that third option is where they can sort of show their point of difference in some ways, because you can really, we've had sort of students go on to do medicine and actually with environmental studies as their third subject, and they are actually within their personal statement, they had quite a strong twist on why they were, one of the reasons why they were so interested in medicine actually linked in with their strong sort of ethical views, which actually shows them as quite a rounded person. So that, I think, probably went a lot in their favour in that application, because it was a real point of difference for them as an individual.
And that's with the terminal A levels, that's become more accepted, hasn't it? That the third A level will be something of interest rather than the usual combinations. Okay, another question here. What study facilities do you have? Well, I mean, I'll just start that off. With the very, very good facilities at Petroc. In fact, they're excellent facilities. All students in the lab sciences do all lessons in labs. There are no lessons outside labs. We have 100% lab accommodation, and the facilities I spend my time in the chemistry lab, and it's excellent. The facilities are superb. We've got the interactive whiteboard. We can interact with the students at home with their mobiles. So we've got pretty much state-of-the-art equipment. I don't know if anyone wants to add to that. In biology, anything specific in biology there?
Well, because of the foundation degree in biology, that does give us access to some equipment has been sort of bought in for that. So things like having our own PCR machine, so that we can actually do some of those sort of practicals that maybe the students wouldn't normally be able to access until they reach university level.
Yeah. Anyone else? Debbie? I don't know. I mean, you work in the chemistry lab as well, and that the labs are very good here, aren't they? Anything specifically you want to add to
that? No, I mean, this year may be a little bit different, but obviously we have access to technology as well. So kind of the Chromebooks, and they've obviously got the library. We have our online resources as well.
Yeah, Dave, anything
I would agree.
specific?
Nothing else really, all good. I think all high tech stuff in the physics department and that, and all, everything's practical there, works and is good for me. So yeah,
we never want for much, do we? We always have the equipment and facilities at our fingertips that we need. I never or wish I had that, or oh God, I can't get into that room today, or I haven't got that piece of software. We've got everything we need to do the job well, I find. I don't know, Gemma, maths, is that similar for you? Someone's alarm?
Yeah, well, we don't need much, to be honest. We just need a classroom, which we've got, and a pen and paper, which I'm sure we've got.
You've got you do quite well with the ProWise boards, don't you? They suit maths pretty well, don't they?
We've got the modern boards. Yeah, they're really good, and obviously recently we've been doing a lot of digital learning using software, but it's all available online. So yeah, we've got everything we need and more.
And it's similar with you then, Liz?
Yeah, I think we really have the advantage of being a big college with a lot of students, so we have a lot of equipment, and they definitely cross over kind of with all the ecology equipment that I use in terms of biology. I think we've got everything that we need in terms of all the practical assessments that we have to do.
Yeah, you come and pinch our burettes from time to time, don't you? But we've got loads.
Yeah, exactly. I can make use of the labs when we have the lab work. So most of the time I'm in the classroom, but obviously I transfer into the labs when we have to do practicals, and that works fine.
Yeah. So I mean, to summarize that, it's fantastic facilities at Petroc in terms of science. You won't better them, I think, and you'll go quite a long way to find them as good, I would say. So yes, they're good. Next question: how are A levels assessed? Well, do you want to it's the same for everybody, isn't it? Basically, it's terminal exams at the end of the 2 years, and there's what we call the PAGs, or practical assessment groups, for each. We all do OCR, so they all interlock quite nicely, and they do complement each other. There's very little overlap, I find, between them. And the practical assessment groups are 12 assessed practicals that we do over the course of the 2 years. And it's a pass or fail. If you turn up and do the practical, you're pretty much going to pass it. So we do loads of practical work as a day-to-day rule anyway. So it's more of that. Anyone want to add anything to that about assessment of A-levels? Is it any different for you then, Liz? Might be slightly different.
Ever so slightly. I don't have a practical assessment like the other sciences. What I have to do is I have to do 4 days of field work and assess practical assessments, and then they're assessed in the exam as exam questions. So it is still 100% exam. Just to give you perspectives of some other A-levels. So some A-levels do have coursework. It's not in the sciences. So there is geography, history, English, are the big ones that do have a coursework part of their A-level. So I think most are 100% exam assessed, but there are a few that do have coursework.
Any quirks with maths there, Gemma? I guess it's all at the end, but you could just enlighten us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't have practicals or anything like that. We have 3 exams at the end of the 2 years. 2 of those are pure maths, and then the 3rd exam is the applied, which is statistics and mechanics. You can see that it's weighted heavily on the pure maths. Yeah, there's 3 exams at the end, which we obviously have mocks for and prep for, but it all comes down to those exams.
Right, and they're not a subset of further maths, are they? They're completely separate.
No, that's not. No, so further maths is a completely separate course that you have your own exam papers for. You would be taking, again, I think that there's the same. There's 3 exams for further maths in the 2 years, depending on how you do the course at Petroc. There's slightly different options that you need to talk to myself or Rob about.
Okay, good. So just waiting for another question. Here we go. It's a YouTube question. Can you continue to do a degree at Petroc? Yes, well, you can certainly. I think it was mentioned earlier, wasn't it, by Kathy? There's, but is it Kathy? Do you know the details of that? There is a degree afterwards, isn't there?
Yeah. So in terms of the sciences, I'd say there's a few that are relevant. So there's within the biology department, there's the the biosciences degree. I don't teach on it, but it is taught sort of within department, so that you can go on to. But there's also ones, conservation ones, so which are taught and within a different department, but again they're sort of quite linked into a science route. I think there's one linked with health, with childcare and health and social care. And also recently, obviously, there's the new nursing degree that sort of started up as well. So although that's not run directly by Pet, we're sort of partnered, aren't we? I think that's University of Bolton, whereas the other one, the University of Plymouth associated. But that is run locally, and obviously you then have the experience within the local hospitals. And I think that's proving quite a popular choice, particularly with some of the more adult learners.
Yeah, and it's as you said, it's most of them are partnered with Plymouth, aren't they? So we do the foundation degree at Petroc, and then I think they finish off the course at Plymouth.
Yeah, so with the bioscience one, they do the first 2 years at Petroc, and then the 3rd year down at Plymouth to get the final. So you get a foundation degree after 2 years. You can finish there, or you can go on to Plymouth and do your 3rd year as part of the whole Plymouth cohort. And we've had a lot of sort of success with students going on to do that, and students going on and getting first-class degrees down in Plymouth and winning awards and all sorts. So they've done really well. Actually, it's been quite a success story.
Yeah. Oh, next question: Can you help with university choices once I have studied my A-levels? Well, yeah, we can certainly point you in the right direction and give you advice from, within our specialist subjects. It would usually be during your A-levels rather than after your A-levels. But obviously, if we don't get many students approaching us after their A-levels, but if they do, of course, we would help them. It's mostly during the towards the end of the first year and beginning of the second year when we really kick into overdrive with talking to students about choices and encouraging them to have a look. We obviously advise, we encourage students to make the choices in an informed way, and we would advise them accordingly. I don't know if anyone else wants to add to that.
Yeah, can I just add, a lot of the advice might come through, we have a number of Aspire Academies, and students can join those. So for example, there's one for vets and medics, or just people interested in healthcare professions, and there's a STEM Academy, there's humanities one, and they're very much an enrichment, so they're taken in addition to your A-levels. And so that they would have speakers come in, you do extra events. So again, that can always help with university and career choices.
Yeah, good point. Anyone else want to?
Yeah, just the having access to this website called Unifrog, which kind of you work through when you're in your tutorial, and it is an incredible source of information regarding universities. So you can put in your A-level choices, and it will just give you a whole range of courses that students have taken based on your A-levels. You can do it in reverse. You can look at careers and what people. What degree and what A-levels those people took. You can even do a personality test, and it will suggest possible careers for you. So that resource is available as well through tutorial, and I think it is amazing, especially for students who are really unsure about what they want to do.
Okay, good. Here's another message from this is Finder's Hood. What are the advantages of doing further maths as well as maths? Over to you, Gemma.
If you're planning on doing an engineering degree or a higher apprenticeship or doing maths at university, that's when you would want to take further maths. I would only take it if you were going down that route, or if you absolutely loved maths and you were dead set on doing lots of maths. But you would be studying it for 10 hours a week, and it would take up 2 of your A-levels. So it has to be something you really want to do. The advantages are if you're going on to study maths or engineering.
What do you think, Dave, about physics at university? Further maths a distinct advantage?
I think maths definitely. I'm not sure about further maths. I think maths is the main one for physics A-level and degree level as well. I would say engineering is never there for further maths, but maths core, I think, for physics mainly. I would say.
Yeah. Further maths is such a commitment. You really want to make sure that it's something that you want to commit to, because it takes up that second choice as well. But if you love maths, that's what you'll do.
We get the occasional student that does 4 A-levels, don't we? The high flyers that will do 4 A-levels, including further maths. So
yeah, I mean, all of my learners that are doing further maths are doing 4 A-levels. So that's those are kind of the standard of student that are doing the further maths. It tends to be you want to be getting an 8 or a 9 in your GCSE maths in order to do the further maths. So that's kind of the entry requirements for that. It's quite a bespoke course, and again we try and accelerate it. So we teach it in a year. We do a year maths and then a year further maths. Hopefully that'll happen next academic year as well. So please get in touch about the further maths. It's quite a bespoke course.
Okay, well, I think we're drawing to an end there, folks. The 2 minute we've got the 2 minute gun came about 1 minute 30 ago, so that's probably the end of questions, I think. So we've got a message on here to advise people to get in touch with the guidance team if they need any more information, and we'll all be happy to answer questions that come from there by email or other. So that's time.